Sai Shri R, Lecturer, Department of English, Tapasya PU and Degree College, Bangalore. She will be presenting a paper titled Medical Thrillers. Let us extend a warm and heartful welcome to her. Ma'am, the platform is all yours.
Happy evening, ma'am, and thank you.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
nice bring medical thrillers. I'll start with the medical case. It's a theory by Michael Colt, developed in 1963. It was initially stated in the book The Birth of the Clinic, an archaeology of medical perception. It discusses boundaries between doctor and patient. It talks about power dynamics, objectification, and separation of disease from the person. As in, it is not the individual that is given importance, but the disease. A Case of Need. It was written by Michael Christian, published under the pen name Jeffrey Hudson in the year 1968, and it won the Edgar Award. It was set in an era before abortions were legalized, before abortions became legal. It discusses the investigation on the death of the character, 18-year-old Karen Randall. She is thought it is thought that she was pregnant, but she was not. The plot is weaved around the death of this character, Karen Randall, misconceived, misunderstood as murder, and Dr. John Barry sets out to investigate the case and to prove that his friend, Dr. Artley, an Asian American obstetrician, did not commit the murder. However, Dr. Lee does perform illegal abortions using safe methods for girls in need. Later, it is revealed that Karen was not pregnant despite the symptoms shown, but she was a drug addict. So, what Berry does is he inspects her autopsy reports, tissue assays, and observes that elite society that she belongs to. Drug of Choice. This novel was again written by Michael Christian under the pen name John Lange. The story follows Dr. Roger Clark, a hospital physician who investigates a series of bizarre, weird cases where patients fall into coma, but then they wake up unharmed. But there is one strange symptom, and that is bright blue urine. Clark's investigation leads him into a shadowy pharmaceutical bioengineering corporation called Advance Inc., which has developed a revolutionary mind-altering drug that is used to manipulate human perception and also behavior on a resort island. This resort island is a conglomerate of this company with an aim to influence politics and commerce. It is later revealed through investigations that this resort, Eden Island, as I said, is a conglomerate of this pharmaceutical company. On Eden Island, Clark discovers that this company has developed a drug, a potent mind-altering drug. What it does is it creates flawless, super realistic, hyper-realistic hallucinations custom tailored to the user's deepest desires. The guests are used as subjects, even though the guests are really wealthy. That is why they are in this particular resort. Despite being wealthy, all that, these guests are used as subjects to test out the drug. After being trapped and pressured by the company, Clark uses his medical knowledge and first-hand experience of the experiments to understand advanced methods and expose the danger of its research. Coma. This was written by Robin Cook in the year 1977. The plot unfolds as a young medical student, Susan Wheeler. What she does is she investigates unexplained comatose condition in many patients after surgeries in the hospital. She discovers that the comas are not accidental. A group within the hospital is involved in a criminal scheme. Patients are being deliberately placed into coma. Their bodies are being kept alive in a special facility and their organs are harvested. God Player, again written by Robin Cook in the year 1983, it revolves around the unexplained deaths in the hospital where a doctor couple works. Dr. Cassandra Cassie, she discovers that her husband, who's a cardiac surgeon, an excellent one indeed, Dr. Thomas Kingsley, has a darker side of his personality. Many of the deaths appear to be complications, even though the pattern becomes increasingly suspicious. Dr. Siebert, a pathologist, notices that the death may not be accidental and begins searching for an explanation. Dr. Siebert and Dr. Cassandra Kingsley investigate the deaths together. Their discoveries lead them towards the possibility that a physician with the medical knowledge inside the hospital is manipulating patient outcomes. Since Dr. Siebert gets close to uncovering the truth, he becomes a target himself. His own hospitalization puts him in a vulnerable position, demonstrating the danger faced by anyone trying to expose the killer. Cassie refuses to accept the explanations given by senior doctors and hospital administrators. She risks her personal and professional life to search out for truth. As the investigation progresses, she begins to question whether her husband's personality changes, drug use, professional pressures are all connected to the deaths. Dr. Cassandra exposes the truth about her husband, who exhibits God complex, a belief that he is superior, he is better than the others. Dr. Thomas is eventually exposed, and what is being given importance is that he faces a collapse, and that is elaborated in the novel more than the courtroom drama, all the legal proceedings, all that. The Sisterhood. This novel was written by Michael Palmer in 1982. The novel focuses on euthanasia, medical ethics, hospital murder, and the question of who has the right to decide when a life should end. Sisterhood is an organization that ends lives of people whom they think are suffering without a quality life. The story takes place at Boston Doctors Hospital, where patients who appear to recover successfully from surgery begin dying mysteriously in enigmatic ways during the night, despite surviving the surgeries. Sisterhood has crossed an ethical and legal boundary. They are making life and death decisions without consent and without medical authority. Their actions turn a debate about compassionate care into a series of murders. The protagonist is Dr. David Chilton. He is a talented physician whose career has suffered after a personal tragedy. He is trying to rebuild his reputation when he becomes involved in investigating the strange deaths at the hospital. The investigation reveals the conflict between mercy and murder, patient suffering and patient rights, personal beliefs and medical ethics. Christian is a young nurse who becomes central to Shelton's investigation. She unknowingly becomes connected to the sisterhood's activities. Her character represents the conflict between compassion for suffering patients and the dangers of taking absolute control over life and death. The sisterhood is a secret group of nurses who believe they are protecting patients from prolonged suffering. They justify their actions as mercy killings. Their philosophy is based on their own judgment rather than patient choice, medical ethics, or even legal standards. Major themes discussed in this novel, The Sisterhood, are euthanasia and assisted dying, the danger of moral certainty, trust in healthcare and medical boundaries, medical power and responsibility. Extreme Measures, one of Michael Palmer's best known medical thrillers written in 1991. This novel combines hospital politics, healthcare economics, medical ethics, and murder. It is set in the fictional Boston Memorial Hospital. The protagonist, Dr. Eric Natarajan, is a skilled emergency physician. He notices a disturbing pattern that is critically ill. homeless people, and uninsured patients are disappearing from the emergency department or dying under suspicious circumstances. He finds it suspicious when several patients die and when the hospital records are altered. He later gets to know that people who are considered to be unable to pay the hospital bills are the ones who die. Members of the conspiracy deliberately hasten these patients' death and falsify medical records to conceal the crimes. Dr. Hannah is a physician at the emergency department and she helps Dr. Natarajan in his investigation. The novel deals with socio-political conditions of the era and medical ethics in healthcare management. Harvest, written by Tess Gerritsen in the year 1996, revolves around organ transplantation. Drawing on Tess's background as a physician, the novel combines transplant medicine, medical ethics, and suspense around an organ trafficking conspiracy. The novel is set in Bayside Hospital in Boston and follows Dr. Abby, a talented surgical resident preparing for a career in transplant surgery. She gets to know that many reputed hospitals and physicians are involved in the crime of illegal and unethical organ transplantation. Abby's life changes when she is a wealthy individual, needs a heart transplantation to be done simultaneously when a teenager, 17-year-old, Josh needs it. Abby wants the teenager to survive. A woman dies because of brain death, and her heart is a perfect match for both Nina and this teenager, Josh. They both get a heart transplantation done, but then Nina received it through suspicious methods. Abby discovers that Nina's transplant did not come through legitimate organ donation channels, leading her into the larger conspiracy involving illegal organ harvesting. Also, this reveals the ethical dilemma of wealth and life. Lethal Practice. Lethal Practice was written by Peter Clement in 2001, who has worked as a physician in the emergency department. The novel draws from everyday practices in the hospital, but this novel also highlights medical negligence and errors made by doctors. The novel follows Dr. Earl, an experienced emergency physician working at a busy hospital. Dr. Earl Garnett is respected for his clinical skills and dedication to patients. The hospital is suddenly shaken by a series of unexpected patient deaths and serious medical errors. Initially, these incidents appear to be isolated cases or unfortunate complications. Dr. Earl Garnett begins to suspect that there is something more sinister that is occurring as more patients die. Several patients die under suspicious circumstances. His investigation uncovers evidence that the deaths may be connected to physician impairment. It refers to both physical and mental. Physician impairment refers to both physical and mental, and even emotional. Medical negligence and deliberate manipulation of hospital procedures. As he follows the evidence, he encounters resistance from hospital administrators and colleagues who fear scandal and legal consequences. Truth is concealed to protect careers and reputation. His search for answers places both his career and his life at risk. Several doctors become suspects during the investigation. Some are genuinely committed to patient care, while others are influenced by ambition, financial interest, or fear of professional consequences. The novel becomes a real thriller as it is difficult to guess whom to trust. It is a real thriller because the reader does not know who should the reader trust or who he or she cannot. The patients are not merely victims, they illustrate the vulnerability of people who depend on healthcare professionals and institutions to act ethically. Major themes discussed involve medical malpractice, physician impairment, as I said, it's both physical, mental, and in fact, even emotional. Hospital politics, workplace ethics, and trust in healthcare. Cure. This book was written by Robin Cook in the year 2010. The novel begins when Dr. Laurie, a New York medical examiner, returns to work after caring for her young son, whose cancer is in remission. Her first major case is the mysterious death of Kevin Markham, a CIA agent. The death initially appears unusual because the evidence suggests poisoning, but routine toxicology tests failed to identify the substance involved. Laurie suspects the death was not accidental and begins investigating despite doubts from colleagues. Laurie and her husband is also a doctor in this novel, Dr. Jack Stapleton, another medical examiner, discover that Markham's death is connected to stem cell research, pluripotent stem cells, which could transform regenerative medicine. Scientists and corporations see enormous financial potential, while criminals attempt to control the discovery. As Laurie gets closer to the truth, the danger becomes personal. The criminals threaten her family, forcing her to solve the mystery while protecting her son. She caters to both the roles, being a doctor and being a mother. Dr. Laurie does not buy explanations when there is a slightest clue that there is something fishy. She is intelligent, determined, and scientifically rigorous. Dr. Jack Stapleton acts as a partner in life and profession as a forensic physician. Kevin Markham is a CIA agent whose death is being investigated. His mysterious death serves as the entry point into the larger conspiracy. His connection to biotechnology research makes him central to the conflict. There are other characters in novel like scientists and scientific entrepreneurs who represent the tension between discoveries and inventions and exploitation. Cook, through this novel, examines what happens when potentially life-saving discoveries become billion-dollar commodities. Cure suggests that advanced medical technology can become dangerous when controlled by people motivated primarily by money or power. The Echo Man. This novel was written by Sam Holland in the year 2022. This novel is titled so because the murderer tries to mimic the murders committed before by the previous killers, like as if it's a tribute. After carefully studying them, he is really intelligent. He studies them before committing them and leaves behind scenes designed to echo notorious cases. The investigators discover that the killer's motivations are connected to deeper psychological issues like narcissism, identity, obsession, and the desire for recognition. The investigators use DNA evidence, crime scene examination, behavioral profiling, and analysis of behavioral patterns, forensic pathology, and databases. They also use communication tools, all that. Cara Elliott is a lead investigator who tries to solve the case using modern communication tools and evidence trackers. She is emotionally affected by the crimes but does not lose focus. She balances professional duty with personal trauma. Kara's challenge is not only finding the killer but understanding the psychology behind his action as to why does he even do it. Detective Nate Griffin, he works alongside Kara. He is more analytical. He is a disgraced and suspended detective who becomes an important character in the story. His career has been damaged after he crossed professional boundaries while pursuing justice for his wife's murder. Upgrade. This novel was written by Blake Crouch in the year 2022. It explores what might happen if humans could be redesigned at the genetic level, at the molecular level, and enhanced beyond normal biological limits. The protagonist, Logan Ramsey, works for the Genetic Security Agency, investigating illegal genetic experiments. His job is to stop people who misuse genetic technology. During a raid on an illegal genetic lab, he finds himself mutated. His abilities like intelligence and memory are enhanced, it's improved. This novel deals with tension between two groups of individuals in the very same family. One group believes that directed evolution helps mankind and even the planet, while the other group believes that it is imperfections that make a human an individual. Emotional relationships with genetically modified humans are also explored. Major themes discussed are the ethics of human enhancement, science versus individual freedom, the danger of scientific certainty, what makes us human, and family and legacy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insightful and thought provoking presentation. Your presentation has inspired and stimulated us to read more about medical thrillers. We truly appreciate your valuable insights into the fascinating world of medical thrillers. Now, we will have a question and answer session. I kindly invite the audience to ask their question or share their thoughts with our presenters. Yes, ma'am.
Which was the? Did you go through the history of medical thrillers, or
Ma'am,
just took them at random? Yeah, you have some of the very Robin Cook and all that we have also read in our own time, long ago. Okay, so you have taken the latter uh, ones, I think, from the 1980s to the present day, perhaps. You have
yes, ma'am. Yes.
yes.
And with respect to the history, I'm not very sure because I refer to many sources. But the thing is that, see, there are certain books that say that it started with 1920s, even there are certain examples. So I'm not very sure about the history. I'm yet to go through with respect to the history of it, ma'am.
Where do you think it might have originated? Somewhere far back? You know, there is the book written by Mary Shelley Franklin.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, that was a science experiment. Okay, by for the person called Frankenstein.
Victor Frankenstein.
Giving. So that kind of, I mean, how would you look at that kind of books and the present medical? Uh, do they belong to the same genre, or they're different?
Ma'am, it's a both yes and no because both deals with biology, so it's a broad yes. But as there are discoveries being made, obviously, the see most of the authors are physicians themselves, doctors themselves. So, which means obviously they'll be using the current trends like CRISPR, genomics, as in there are cases where we saw like genome itself is being edited, their memory is enhanced, all that. So, as there are advances in sciences, especially life sciences, so the books will also change and it will adapt. That is what I believe, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I mean, there are other kinds of science fiction. I mean, you didn't go into the though the broad, it was a very broad area was given: science fiction, fantasy, thrillers. Today we also have what is called the cyberpunk novels.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, latest, very latest ones. And I have seen something like them in a kind of movie. How many of these are made into movies? Any idea? Whatever you in your collection.
Uh, I'm not very sure about that, ma'am.
Also, you haven't seen. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Present day, I think people go into this kind of thing. I used to be thrilled with books, Robin books, novels.
But even in Tamil,
There is
we
a
have
kind
a
of investigation. The investigative element in this is something like the detective fiction. Okay. Also popular It's like the detective fiction. It's just not, it's a medical crime that is being investigated, and of course, the results brought out. So there is similarities with detective fiction also, which is also part of that today's theme. I think that is so. Or do you choose to differ?
No, ma'am. See, with respect to harvest, with respect to most of it, it all deals with detection. It all deals with detective fiction. So it boils down to that.
Only there are, I mean, only I think the Gothic fiction, I think some elements are shared with the kind of fear that is put into you when, when something terrible happens, the mysterious deaths, right? And then some kind of people working hand in hand with the hospital management and a lone doctor or individual trying to uncover the mystery of these deaths. So some kind of horror elements are also there. The fear elements would be there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So at some point, I think all of these converge. All of the detective fiction, we call it medical fiction, and though that is not, I mean, medical, what do you call thriller, okay, thrillers. So it is medical investigation more than, and of course it is a thriller. I mean, so all of these, what do you call the popular literature, you have almost all elements in all the novels that are coming out now. I think some of them have been made into Harvest and all that. I think elements are there in some movies. I think I saw recently a missing, I don't remember, Malayalam movie which had,
Malayalam movie and Tamil, you have a lot, as in like 23, there's one. And then Malayalam movies, more often than not, it is all about forensic sciences that they use.
yes, that
Like talking about a tooth transplant, I mean, like tooth implant and then dental implant, taking that as a lead, and then the story follows like that.
yes. Even
There is one implant that does not decay, so because it's an implant, it does not decay, and then that becomes a lead. Then others, all that. There are a lot of it, ma'am.
so when you just list these things, it is good. It would be good if you find these trains, not talk about them. You're talking about medical thrillers. So in general, what are the characteristics? Okay. Otherwise, I mean, you have introduced me to a whole lot of new books, which some of which I haven't read, some of your collection. Okay, so it would be good if you pull out and uh, bring in. There is what do you call? What are the elements of these medical fiction which share kind of borders with other kinds of fiction? Also, because the broad area that you have been asked to talk about is science fiction. I mean, it's detective fiction, science fiction, and others. Okay, thrillers. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
That was a nice presentation, Ms. Sai. I would like to ask about you were talking about euthanasia in one of the novels. So, what is the stand of the authors on euthanasia in these novels?
Ma'am, they're not for it because, see, it is given directly sometimes or indirectly. Like you cannot make life or death decision, and the patient choice is important. Consent is important because medical scenario itself has changed because prioritizing patients is really important. And that shift has been there for quite some time, I guess at least a couple of decades, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, yes.
Uh, Sai Shri, that was a wonderful presentation. Are you able to hear me? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. So you have given a very good bibliography of all the medical thrillers. And whenever I think of the genre, I think of Robin Cook only. I remember reading this one, Coma, and also Brain. There's also very beautiful, book. It's a novel written by Robin Cook. And when you refer to Harvest, I even thought of another play with the same title by Manjula Padmanabhan. That's also related to the ethics, related to uh, organ transplant and things like that. So it's a very modern kind of a writing. And as Srilata ma'am pointed out, so many aspects actually converge in this particular genre of writing. The element of detective fiction, everything is
Yes,
there.
ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. And more than that, I feel it's, see, given the kind of unethical practices that we have in the field of medicine, so the authors naturally question that, the unethical aspect. So that is what is more important, I think. So that was very attractive, appealing to me when I thought about every writer has a purpose, no, in presenting whatever he or she wants to present. So this they
Very much.
question, the ethical, unethical aspect they try to question. So that is a very significant contribution, I feel, by all the writers. Themselves being doctors, practitioners, medical practitioners, definitely they question that, isn't it? So maybe
Very
to
much.
bring
Very
about a
much.
change in the society. Yeah. So that is ultimate objective of any writer, isn't it? To have an impact on the society for the better. So that's why I really appreciate the work you have done today. Any other observation from anybody?
Even if it is
Yes, come.
fiction, then
Yes.
the amount of research that goes into it to give common readers, I mean ordinary readers, an understanding of what is, I mean, the complex investigations in science. No, that is that's I mean I got I used to get thrills when I read what fever, coma, all of these kind of mind bend and all that. When we're getting to know so much of the medical side, even people like Arthur Haley. Arthur Haley, yes, he's also a good researcher. One particular book is Strong Medicine. Is yeah, where he has talked about the pharmaceutical industry. Such, he goes into such depths to analyze and bring out all the anomalies that are there in that particular area. Yes. So in a way, whether we call them pop fiction, these movie, I mean, which were these books, which were once, people never used to like. At least my parents never liked me reading all of these kinds of bestsellers. But so much there is for us to read. So what once was banned, today people read it in order to I mean, not just for entertainment, but for information also. Yes.
Uh, just one point where I want to compliment Sai. I think Sai has a gift for doing this painting on a vast canvas, and she brings to our knowledge many texts. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes,
Yes,
Preeti.
yes, yes, yes. You are
Yeah.
audible. So, I also would like to suggest that Sai can um, work on anthologies, on these kind of topics, no, where you can even give some excerpts. If you can create an anthology of books on science fiction or short stories on science on related to science fiction. That would be good. That's one thing. And Sai, have you come across any work related to sex change operations?
Ma'am, no, ma'am, no.
No. So, I mean, that also would be an interesting study to see how people feel about, how the before and after of their lives once they change sex.
Thank you so much, because these two things I haven't thought about. Thank you so much for giving me these ideas, ma'am. Thank you so much.
So, any other observations? Shall we close then?
Thank you to everyone for your active participation and thoughtful questions. Your interaction has made today's session even more meaningful. On behalf of the PG and Research Department of QMC, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Sai Shri R for sharing her knowledge and valuable insights with us. We also express our sincere thanks to our respected head of the department, faculty members, research scholars, and all the participants for making this symposium a success. As we come to end of the today's symposium, I hope this session has inspired us to explore the fascinating world of popular culture and literature from fresh perspectives. Before I conclude, I would like to invite you all to our next In Tandem session, which will be held on 21st August 2026. The topic for the session is Representing History in Popular Literature and Media. We look forward to your enthusiastic participation. Thank you. Have a pleasant evening.